I'm going to demonstrate using a free AI system from Google. It's called Google NotebookLM, and you simply sign in using your Google account and it's immediately ready to use. So I'm going to show you how you can upload an audio file, instruct the system to do whatever you want done with that audio file, and I'll show you just how quickly it can convert your audio materials into other content for other purposes. So let's see how this goes. So this is the system interface. You click on Create New, opens a window that you can either drag and drop a file into or choose a file from your folders to upload. So we're taking an audio recording of a webinar that ran recently. It was a webinar on the subject of choosing words, the best words to associate with your brand. So when Zoom produces a recording on my system, it gives me both a video file and an audio file. So I'm going to upload the Zoom audio file to Google NotebookLM. Now, within moments, even though this was, I think it was about a 45-minute recording, it produces a summary, which you can see here on the screen. It's a paragraph written by the AI system describing the content within the audio file. So it has digested that content, it has understood it, in air quotes, and it now produces a little précis to explain what the content of that audio file was. At the bottom of the screen, you can see that there is, again, a prompt window, and you can type directly into that window to give the system instructions about what it is now to do with the audio file that you have uploaded. So this is when you could tell it to make minutes, including actions, or in this case, I'm going to ask it for me to write a blog post. And here you can see the prompt that I've written. Now, I want to apply some of my own intelligence to this process. I know what I want that blog post to look like. I know what the content of the webinar was. I know I want to write a blog that picks from that webinar the 5 key points that would be of most interest to the interior design audience that I'm going to be presenting this to. So my prompt to the AI system tells it to produce a blog post featuring 5 key points from this discussion, 5 specific tips for interior designers wishing to improve the quality of the impact made by their use of words, and so on. So it's a bit like you would do if you were briefing a colleague or you were briefing somebody who works for you. You wouldn't just say, go and write a blog. You would tell them what the purpose was, what the content was to be, what the structure was to be, what you were hoping to achieve, who it was being written for, that kind of information. So you can't turn your intelligence off. You have to give really good direction to the AI. But once you've done that, and the AI thinks about it for a little moment, it then produces a blog post that is ready to use. Here you can see what Google NotebookLM wrote in response to the prompt that I gave it based on the audio file that I uploaded. All I'm doing here is I've cut the text directly from the AI system. I've pasted it into a Pages document, and now I'm just going through and clicking on it to make sure that all of the paragraphs look correct. So I have done nothing more than cut and paste. So there's a bit of an issue these days with the quality of content that comes out of large language models, generative AI. So you maybe do have to edit this a little bit to put it into your own voice. What I would do with this is, because I use GPT-4, which is another AI system, all the time, it's used to how I like things written. So actually, I would take this text, I would cut and paste this text, put it into GPT-4, which is an AI system operated by OpenAI, and I would ask GPT-4 to rewrite it perhaps in a less formal way with a warmer tone, using my voice. I might give it a few style directions just to titivate it a little bit and make it a little bit more appealing. But that's it. That is it. So obviously the webinar was a big piece of work. There was an awful lot of material and content and thought went into that. That generated the audio recording. From taking the audio recording, processing it through Google NotebookLM, and producing the blog post, 3 minutes maybe for that, then I would probably choose to run that again through GPT-4 to make it more compelling. That's another 5 minutes of work. So we're talking about 10 minutes to digest a 45-minute presentation and turn it into a really coherent, compelling and interesting blog for your website.